It's moving day. Gru and the girls are all ready to go. Margot, Edith, and Agnes are carrying boxes out to the moving van. But Gru stops them. Wait, where are my sushi rolls? I'm starving. Agnes looks up from her toy and says, I'll get Daddy's sushi. And off she goes skipping to the kitchen. The minions are making sushi for Gru. One minion is fishing out a big, fat worm from a can of what looks like cat food. Another minion is trying to shove a bunch of fish into a tiny box. A third minion is rolling up a piece of seaweed and stuffing it with what looks like cold, hard candy. One minion is even riding a tiny scooter while carrying a plate of sushi. It's quite the operation. Meanwhile, Gru is getting impatient. He paces back and forth, then looks at the clock on the wall. It's time for the sushi, but when he goes into the kitchen, the sushi is not ready. Gru asks the minions what they're doing and they reply, We're making sushi for you, Gru. Gru looks at the mess they've made in the kitchen. There's flour everywhere, the counter is covered with fish, and the sushi rice looks like a science experiment gone wrong. Gru says, I can see that you're trying, but you're making a huge mess. Maybe I should just go get the sushi myself. But Kevin says, No, Gru, we make sushi for you. So the minions get back to work. This time, Gru lets the minions make him some real sushi. They use real sushi rice and lots of veggies, too. The result is pretty good, if not a little bit lopsided. But Gru is very hungry and he scarfs it down. The minions cheer. They're happy that Gru likes their gift, but their happiness is short-lived. Just then, a giant wave of nausea washes over Gru. His eyes turn green and he runs for the bathroom. The minions, confused, look at each other. One minion shrugs and says, Maybe we should stick to evil. The next day, Gru is feeling better, but he's still a little sick to his stomach. He tells the minions, I appreciate you making me sushi, but I think I need to take a break from eating fish. The minions, ever helpful, offer to make him something else. Gru thinks for a moment, well, I could go for a nice, juicy burger right now. The minions, always up for a challenge, accept the mission. They put on their chef hats and get to work. Meanwhile, Gru gets to work on his computer. He's looking for a new lair when suddenly he hears a crash from the kitchen. He rushes in to see what's happened and finds the minions covered in flour once again. But they're not making another batch of sushi. They brought in a giant cake. They made him a giant cake. Gru is touched by their thoughtfulness, if not a little bit grossed out by the fact that they covered themselves in icing. You guys really didn't have to do this, he says. But the minions insist. They want to make Gru happy. And they think a giant chocolate cake will do the trick. So they present the cake to Gru and wait for his reaction. Gru looks at the cake, then at the minions. He can't help but smile. Well, this is certainly one way to make an entrance, he says, and with that, he takes a bite.